tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome back, AfterBuzzers, Oncers, all you Oncers. Today we are doing the 2-hour special Birth and the Bear King. Excited. Yes, I'm your host, Marisa Serafini. Joining me
I'm Roxy Stryer. You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Stryer.
Hi guys, I'm Yael. I'm so excited to be here. You can find me online at Yael Tygiel. That's YaelTygiel.
There you go, Roxy. You mentioned your Twitter. Sorry.
That's okay. You probably were just thinking about...
I'm still worked out about this episode.
I know, and Tiona wishes she could be here tonight. You guys can find her at the Tiona Hobson. She loves you guys, and she would love to talk throughout the week about these 2 episodes.
2 episodes.
Probably the first one a little more than the second one.
You don't know. She could be a Brave fan.
That's true.
I think she was, yes. Yeah. Really quickly, because we got a lot to talk about and not enough time to talk about it. So what were your overall thoughts? Yeah, let's start.
I had a lot of parts that I really loved. I had a lot of parts that I really didn't. Excuse me. I have been sticking with this show for so long, and I'm worried that I might be on my way out.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say
that.
It's
after the second hour, I might consider it. I hadn't considered it.
So this might be your first and last time on this panel.
How many times have you thought that throughout this series?
I haven't really.
Okay. I get that. It's a big day then.
Yeah.
Okay, Roxy, how about you?
Here are my overall thoughts. I enjoyed a lot of the first episode. I enjoyed a little of the second episode.
Yes,
the second episode had me kind of scratching my head, wondering, why are they doing this? Like, I'm trying to care, and I feel like, yes, they're setting us up for something bigger, but the first episode gave me a lot of what I really wanted, and I thought that this 2 hours was going to complete the first hour, but the second hour was going to make the first hour enhance it, but instead it kind of disregarded it, which was strange for me that ABC decided to air these 2 episodes back to back when they seemingly had nothing to do with one another.
And they didn't.
Absolutely.
And I think the only reason why ABC wanted to air both of these together, so it would shorten the wait time for the audience to see the answers in the next episode.
I agree, but I think that they could have picked 2 episodes to air together better.
Back to back.
Oh, yeah. I would have loved to see, because this first one ended on such an amazing reveal that I was so excited to see where that was going, and instead we went a completely different direction.
Right.
See, the second episode would have been better had they placed it earlier in the season. It's very standalone.
Yeah.
Or even, heck, later, not immediately after the first episode that revealed so many answers. But we'll get into it. There's so much to talk about, not enough time. Everyone drink your coffees and keep with us. Here we go. Back.
Marissa's already had 4 today.
I have. Past Camelot. It's now 3 weeks, so we're moving up in the timeline, thank God. So past Camelot, we see Arthur and Zelena, they're all together, they're banding, and there's the whole deal with Emma. It's like, hey, give us the sword and the dagger in exchange for Regina, Mary Margaret, and David. Pretty much just a whole nother deal going down. What did you think of this?
And Hook.
And Hook, yes.
Of course.
Of course. So many names.
God. You're clearly not the hooker that I wished you were.
Apparently not. Well, we got a lot of
He was there.
hookers for life tonight. Everyone is reeling from this. What do we think of this whole exchange? Was it necessary?
Go ahead.
You know, I was kind of thrown off by it because Emma's like, I have one more thing I have to do while I'm dark, and she does this exchange, and then out of the box, and Zelena gets caught up, and even when Mary Margaret was getting strangled, I'm like, this all looks like they don't really care. They've done this so many times. They're like, Mary Margaret's like, all right, this tree is choking me. Okay.
And I'm surprised it didn't destroy her trachea. I was like, that was gripping her really tight.
My
Like,
first
how is she
thought
not
was-
dead yet?
My first thought was, why aren't there bruises on her neck?
Yeah. It just, I feel like we've been there, we've done that, so nobody really took that threat seriously. And I needed them to because the stakes were so low for me because of that.
There were multiple parts in this episode where I felt we've already done this. And I feel like this season, unfortunately, has had a lot of we've already done this moments. And they keep doing we've already done this and then giving us a twist. And this time I felt like, well, I guess it did end with another twist, but like we've already done a lot of the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, so the whole exchange goes down. But we did get the good message out of all of this, really, that Emma, she needs the Prometheus spark to bind the dagger and the sword back together and make it one. And we also learned that she has to let it go, let darkness go. She's holding on to something. And again, not to skip too far ahead, we will definitely get into it. But, we had that question posing a couple episodes ago. When Merlin was trying to get the darkness out of her the first time. And we get this answer. She's holding on to something. Was it you thought it was going to be?
Well, first of all, I thought it was completely legitimate what Regina did to get it out of her.
Oh, absolutely.
I thought that was great. I love Regina.
I have no idea why Emma was so pissed about that. She was trying to help. This is why Emma gave her the dagger.
Yes.
So
To do what others aren't willing to do. And Yael, you and I, we have an inside joke. # be the bitch.
Be the bitch.
Sometimes you have to be the bitch in certain situations.
Absolutely.
To get something out of a situation, to move forward something. Sorry for all you family listeners.
yeah,
Yes.
but I completely agree.
It's definitely what Regina is supposed to do. She's supposed to be the bitch in this situation.
Yeah.
She has to make the hard decisions.
Right, which is why I don't understand. I felt this way multiple times throughout the episode. Why are Mary Margaret and Charming being like this? Why are they like, oh, Regina, why would you do that? Or later on, same thing with how Hook reacts. He's like, I can't believe you did this. Everybody's reactions tonight were so opposite of what my reaction would have been, which would have been like, thank you for helping me admit the truth to myself, or
Yes.
thank you for saving my life. What?
Yeah, and also when Mary Margaret and David are trying to be like, no, don't, Regina, there are other ways to do it, then, come up with an idea. Come up with a better plan then. I don't see
Absolutely.
you guys having good suggestions. Regina's doing the best that she can.
I love that Regina used the dagger to get answers, right? It's the first time we've seen it really used for a good purpose.
Yes.
And so I'm with you. I don't understand why Mary Margaret was like, you're hurting her. No, we're getting answers.
It would have been one thing if they walked outside and she was like, do the hokey pokey, like, or just messing with her.
Yeah.
She was doing something legit.
Yeah.
And I understand it's tricky because it's bordering on the line of using dark magic right there, because you're forcing somebody to say something that they don't necessarily want to say.
Yep.
But you know what? Sometimes we have to get a little dark. Sometimes we have to get our hands dirty. This show is now like, be the lightest you can be. You cannot be the tiniest bit dark. Regina proved to us that you can. People have proved to us that you can.
But also, Mary Margaret, she has a black spot on her heart. Like, she's not above all this.
Nope. No one's perfect here.
Yeah.
No one is perfect
Yeah.
in this charming family.
I feel like the epitome of our after show right now is like, uh-huh.
No, look, I think we all came into this episode very heated because there are a lot of things that are frustrating. Granted,
Yeah.
we love this show.
Of course.
But
of course.
so
Just to be
many
clear, I'm
things
not
are
quitting.
like, what?
Yo, I didn't believe you for a single second. You're completely full of crap. I know that you love this show.
I do.
And there were some
I was
really
about
strong
ready to show you
moments.
the door, but
The hooker moments tonight were through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
oh my god,
Obviously,
and
there's some
Tiana's
sad
not even
moments.
here.
I know, but I'm repping my inner Tiana right now, and I'm gonna talk all hooker things that were great. Well, I'll do that when we get to it.
I was like, let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay, but I did love this endearing moment between Regina and Emma and how far the relationship has come. And Regina's like, I know you, Emma. It's taken a long time, but I know you.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, it takes someone who's been in that exact or maybe not the exact, but in the same situation to really understand what Emma's going through.
Yeah.
And again, Regina was just the perfect one to get the answers out.
I agree. And going to the chat for a second, which, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can join us live on YouTube Sundays at 9 p.m. Pacific time to talk to us. Right now, Dolphins Flirty says, Mary Margaret is always getting mad at Regina whenever she's forcing someone or torturing someone. And I think that's true. And I think that she gets more mad at Regina than anybody else. I don't think it's fair. And everybody kind of just jumps on the bandwagon. Like, who was it? I wanted Henry to be like, yo, Mom, smart move.
And Henry said like 2 lines tonight. That was it in both episodes.
Yeah.
That's
Goodness.
Yeah.
He just completely off to the wayside.
He's in love.
Yeah.
He is in love. We might get back to that in another episode.
But not in this 2 hours.
Not in this one.
We had 2 hours and we left a lot of stories out.
We left a lot of stories out. Okay, so past Camelot, we also learned what really, because you put all these flashbacks together, what really Emma is holding on to. Mind blown. It's Hook.
My mind was not blown. My mind knew it the whole time. And you can go back and watch episodes. I knew Emma wasn't fully bad. I knew she had a plan here, and she wasn't just out to get everybody, and that she loved Hook, and I never doubted that for a single second.
Well, I mean, it's been clear that Emma's had a plan since the beginning, right? Like, we know that Emma is not the kind of person to go bad and just do things to be bad. She's not Zelena, who enjoys being silly and bad.
I was going to punch Zelena in the face tonight.
Oh my God.
I was going to punch her in the
And
snapper.
I was going to hook Hook for trusting her.
I was going to punch Hook. I'm sorry for trusting her.
Fool.
I'm sorry. Have we not learned anything?
Nothing.
Nope.
Did you remember Mary Margaret last week? And she kicks her in the stomach? Like, come on, Zelena. What? Nobody should trust you. Although she did kind of live up to the first end of her deal with Hook tonight. Then she comes back to oh, God.
Okay. Yes. So please don't die.
I'm just so amused that I'm dying.
Okay, so we learned that Emma's holding on to Hook because she's afraid of their potential future together. Did you think this was a good enough, strong enough story for Emma to hold on to darkness and spark everything that's going on right now?
I get it. I get that she is not she has a lot of abandonment issues. I totally get that, right? Her whole life is abandonment. That being a reason to be dark and to hold on to your darkness, not so much. But I like that she finally admits it to herself. Like, that's the most important thing, is that she admits it to herself, and that's what leads us to this conversation. The fact that that's what's driving most of, what we think is going on, that bugs me a little.
So the fact that she could have a potentially good, clean, light future compared to her dark past.
Scary. That's scary for someone.
I can understand that. I don't think that's strong enough to hold on to darkness for it.
Right.
I think that I'm calling bullcrap on this one a little bit. And I'm a huge hooker. Here's the thing. This is actually kind of realistic. People do this all the time in life. They'll self-sabotage so that they don't get their actual happiness. So in that sense, it's totally legit. But in the world of this show,
right,
it being a strong enough reason, it absolutely is not. Because she is saying, essentially, it's worth it for me to be the dark one so that I don't have to move in with you because I'm scared of that. That doesn't sound like Emma. That doesn't sound like Swan. It doesn't sound like things that she would be saying in this world. So I'm with you, Marissa, a little bit. I didn't feel like this was strong enough. I believe in their love, and I believe that she is legitimately afraid, but not afraid enough that she's going to let herself be crippled and stay the dark one.
I expected an addition to it, right? I expected something more. I totally get the fear and that's what's holding her back. I agree with you. I think they're missing the next step that makes her, I'm afraid and I'm going to stay the dark one.
Oh, I like this in the chat. BG Titan Avatar says, it's similar to Regina being afraid to meet Robin because she was afraid without her anger, she'd just float away.
Oh, yeah.
So Regina and Emma, a little more similar than we think sometimes.
But they're always similar.
I get it. BG, you're awesome. All right. So we get all that. And then also, I mean, during that whole showdown of the exchange, Hook gets cut by the blade Excalibur.
Yes.
But that also is a big factor in all this because Emma heals him with her dark magic, quote unquote. But then later on, when they're trying to actually merge the sword and the dagger together, the sword is meant to cut immortal ties.
Yeah.
Which means we all know that Hook drank from the water, the immortal water from Neverland, and then he's immortal. So cutting the mortal ties of him, he'd become mortal. He would die. Did you see this coming? I thought this was actually good. I thought this particular moment is a good, desperate enough reason for Emma to be all rationale goes out the window.
Oh, yeah.
And then hers, like, this is just a desperate attempt to save his life.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see this coming, and I definitely thought that, like, that is a good enough reason to stay the dark one right there.
Exactly.
Completely agree with you guys. This is the proudest hooker moment thus far. I'm with Emma, and I think that when you are this in love with somebody, you do anything you can to save them. And I would have been appalled and shocked had she done anything else. Had she let him die when he was like, no, let me go, that wouldn't have been the Emma we know. She's gonna fight tooth and nail. She already lost Neil.
Very true, and she did bring up Neil. So again, another reason why, like, she thought she was gonna have a future with Neil. That didn't work out.
Right.
Having a future with Hook, who knows if that would work out. But again, I think it's love. You have to take leaps and bounds for things that you are. Love makes you do crazy things.
That's what I hear.
Apparently this. This is one of the crazy things that Emma did. So because the dagger and the sword now still not merged in past Camelot.
So, wait, a bunch of people in the chat are talking about Hook never drank the water, which I didn't remember him doing until you just said either, and that he is mortal. I don't think that was the reason that happened. I think that if Excalibur cuts you, that it's poison, like you die.
I also thought, so I know that Excalibur, in other shows that have Excalibur, Excalibur gives you a wound that cannot be healed. That's what a separate show that I do here at AfterBuzz has.
Yvonne says Hook was only immortal because he was in Neverland. He was never truly immortal, so when we brought him out, he was no longer immortal.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
My mind is going back to the
No, I get it. There's so
second part of season 2.
Marissa, you're the biggest fan of the show. You've seen every episode a million times, but there's still so much to know, especially when you have to right now be thinking about Mulan and Red.
Yeah.
They're coming up.
Oh my god. All right. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. You are amazing. I will trust what you say.
Yeah.
Okay. So, anyways, Hook is dying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hook is
Regardless,
dying.
he's dying.
And Emma,
Really cool makeup that they did on that cut.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that too.
and it looks like he was actually bleeding out. I mean, that's like the jugular vein is right there.
Wait, is
Yeah.
it possible that it was because he was cut with the blade, and then now that we're making the blade whole, anybody who was cut with it and healed is like no longer? Could that have been what they meant?
It's affected.
Yeah.
Right,
But-
like we've dealt with that, so now he can't be healed.
I think maybe, but also, do you guys think if this had been anyone else, Emma would have reacted like this? Like, say it had been Robin, or say it had been David.
No.
I think it had been
no.
her mother or Henry.
But that's it.
Yeah. Henry,
And
maybe.
I think so too. But it also, in this particular moment, she had to, put some rationing into, and she's like, Regina, you fought so hard for me to fight for your man. Let me fight for mine.
Right.
And I thought that was a really great point of hers. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I thought it was really strong too. Bobby says what happened tonight was the magic started to leave Emma, and her magic was going away, so the wound was coming back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Let
Okay.
me
Yes,
ask
that
you
makes sense.
this, because maybe I'm wrong, because I'm now not remembering, but I'm pretty sure. When they returned from Camelot and they had no memory, right, we had to deal with a death for a death, correct? Because Robin was supposed to die.
Yes.
That was this
Yeah.
season. So it's interesting that we had to deal
But then
with that.
she was gonna go, and then we pulled her back because they all band together. So we
Right.
never actually did a death for a death, but we had to deal with that this season.
Okay, because
So
I thought
Robin should have been infected too, maybe?
maybe, because I was thinking,
But
like,
he wasn't infected physically by the Excalibur.
I was thinking that we would end up having to like deal with this somehow relating to that, right? Because that's how we started this season. We went back to Storybrooke, and there was the thing coming to get Robin because of death for a death.
Yeah.
The thing on the
The
water
Fury.
that we thought would lead us to Hades, but we haven't gotten there yet.
That was a carry-on. Okay.
Yes,
The Fury. Yes.
yes. I thought that
Maybe
that's
that
where
will
this was,
come back.
I thought that's
Maybe
where this was
that
going.
will lead us to Underworld. Yes, I said it. All right, we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
The chat is going crazy right now because half of them think that she would have let David die, and half of them think she wouldn't have.
No, I agree. She would
She
have
would let her
totally
father
let.
die?
Yeah, she would let him die.
Interesting.
They're 50-50 right
I also
now.
really like someone said Moulin Rouge, and I'm gonna say hell yes, I'm on that. That's
Hell
your
yes.
hooker. What is yours?
I am Outlaw Queen.
Yeah, I am Moulin Rouge. Absolutely.
Doesn't count.
Side
Totally
tangent, I
counts.
actually have a poster of Moulin Rouge over my bed.
Yeah,
Okay,
but that totally
back to
counts.
this episode. Back to this episode.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, so
Part 1.
Hook is dying. And then Emma realizes that because she's also tethered to the dagger,
Right.
she can tether Hook's soul to the Excalibur.
Thus
Right.
creating
That's creating
another
two
dark one.
at the same time. This is like a complete technicality and a loophole that what?
And then the sword, which had the little mirage over it, and they clear it, and his name's actually on there too. Here is where I'm confused about. Okay, a couple of things, and I need your guys' help.
Yeah.
Number one, how is it possible that he's been the Dark One this whole time, all the weeks he's been back, but he hasn't felt that or known? I feel like the Dark One is a force that overtakes you. If you could subside it, then you would. So now I'm thinking that being the Dark One is only relevant if you know you are, and if
Yeah.
why? What the heck?
Okay, but is Hook magical? Emma is.
Is Hook, I'm sorry, does Hook have a heart or not?
Oh yes, in the flashback in past Camelot, we did see Emma just what they were kissing, embracing, and we heard that sound. That's the sound of ripping out a heart.
We usually see it though. Does she have the heart? Because when
I think it's
Zelena
implied that
stabs
she took a
him,
heart.
No,
We
I
didn't
don't think
see
that's
it.
the point. I think the point is that the Dark One can get stabbed in the heart and it doesn't matter because
Right.
their heart isn't a heart.
Okay, because that's where I was trying to clarify my thoughts. But okay. It's just the idea that you can tether someone to Excalibur and not the Dark One's blade. That was a new thing with.
Well, they're in two different pieces. It kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but can you tether? Can you tether people to any blade? Or just this blade?
Just this
right?
particular
Because
blade.
we've
This
tethered.
is the only relevant one, I believe.
Because it's also enchanted by Merlin.
Right. So Merlin got tethered to it, and then we released it, and then yes.
Well, pause on that because is that what happened with Merlin? Is Merlin dead now officially? Is Merlin not dead officially? We just see him kind of like
The darkness poofs
Black
out of him.
Vine go up and then Black Vine come down the other sword.
Yeah, I don't think he's dead.
He's not a tree anymore.
Yeah.
He's not.
But didn't
what
they
he
pose the
was.
idea that I think someone posed, maybe it was in the chat roll or in the actual episode like 2 weeks ago, if the darkness is removed from Excalibur, that would essentially remove the immortality from Merlin.
I don't know.
Because Merlin was attached to the sword at one point, right?
But if he's no longer immortal, then wouldn't he die because he would be so freaking old?
Yeah.
But we didn't see it.
That's true.
Because we cut to the second episode.
Here's another question to just add to the confusion, guys. Remember the video? I'm calling it a video. The hologram of him with the warding and someone's coming and they found him. Are we going to
Yeah.
see that
The
made?
Star Wars moment?
Yes, exactly.
Merlin, you're my only
Oh,
hope.
You're
yeah,
right,
I
yeah.
totally thought that's. I'm
Yeah.
glad you
No,
said
we-
it because
we
I was like,
mentioned
it.
okay,
We
great.
mentioned it.
So, are we going to go back and see when that was made?
That video?
Yeah, because
Like where
it's,
he was stuck.
because he's like, oh no, they found me, and then it gets cut right after he says Nimue.
Yeah. Nimue is my only...
Nimue, you're my only hope.
You're my only hope.
And then it gets cut as though he's interrupted. Are we gonna just to add to confusion? When are we gonna see that happen?
I don't think we need to because the whole Nimue story is done.
I disagree because we're still looking for Nimue in current time, or at least Charming was looking for Nimue in current times. Remember, he goes to Robin, or not Robin, to
Well, you know what? We'll get that in the next episode.
Okay, are you sure?
Hopefully.
I'm
I don't know.
confused.
It might
You're
be
not,
3 episodes.
you're not the
from now.
only one confused. The chat is going off right now.
Yeah.
Nicole says Merlin is dead. Rebecca says Merlin's like Rumple.
So in a coma?
I'm not. No, I'm just thinking like he can survive post being the Dark One or post having this darkness in him.
Sure.
A lot of people are saying that he better not be dead. Riley, I think the tie with Merlin is gone. So would that mean that Merlin is or is not gone? Orion says, how is Nimue going to help if she was the first Dark One? Which I agree. What's going on with the whole Nimue storyline? Like tonight, Emma's like, Nimue can't help you anymore. I don't even know where Nimue is at this point.
She's in Emma's head.
It is Emma's head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is Emma's
I want to say
head.
it's the spirit that's in Emma's head.
Yeah, guys, this really has me for a loop at this point.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
episode was whoo.
But then we end with it being interesting.
Steven said Merlin is now in the sword. Which I kind of think is legitimate.
Or maybe he just went back into a tree. Who knows?
If anything, Merlin is in the stone that you pull the sword out of.
Yeah. You know, I'd be more accepting of that.
Or the sword has that like red jewel in it. Merlin's in there. If we're putting Merlin anywhere, I'm just gonna throw out places.
Okay, so
oh my God, Merlin is in the pie in Granny's.
Let's eat Merlin.
Sorry, guys, go on.
Okay. So that brings us to current Storybrooke. We still got a lot to get through.
Yeah.
Current Storybrooke. Hook and Emma still more outlaw queen. Oh my God, this is my mind saying there wasn't enough outlaw queen, but there was a lot of Hooker for life.
I'm like staring at Hooker, and all Marissa's writing down is not enough outlaw queen.
Outlaw queen. I have it in my notes here.
Yeah.
What do we think of present day, just how everything went down? Because we now know that with Henry talking to Hook, be like, oh yes, searching for apartments. This could be your future together. I thought this was so sweet and endearing. Explains how Emma has the house.
Yeah, I'm so glad we got answers on that house.
I love that moment when Emma looked at him and he was like, at least you did a good job being the house. And she said, I didn't do it, you did. I loved that kiss that made him pass out. I loved all of this, except for the fact that Hook didn't trust Emma enough, and instead he trusted Zelina, and now Zelina's coming back and freaking torturing them. She comes and she does her little witchy thing, and it's scary.
Are we not going to talk about Zelina having a baby?
Nah.
Ugh, I don't want to, but we do.
I just
We
want to
have
talk about Dr. Whale.
Yes. Okay. So
The most epic moment of the whole episode.
The hair.
That was hysterical, especially because I'm a massive iZombie fan.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I love that they explained it. What, Emma can do it and nobody gives her crap? Yes.
It's amazing. It's so great that they did it and that they acknowledged it, and the way they acknowledged it was just so clever and a nice, like, wink to the fans.
Like, we think you guys are smart enough that you see the difference, so we're gonna acknowledge it. And then the other thing that you love is the throwing against the wall.
So he says to Zelina, like, last time you were here and someone was giving birth, you flung me against a wall, and then Dark One comes in and just flings him against the wall.
It was perfect.
It was so great.
So
he's a little tougher on iZombie. He's a little more scary on that show.
You know, we had him in the studio.
Is kind of a sad joke a little bit. Not in like the terrible way, but he's just there for jokes.
Yeah, Regina's like, can't we ever get another doctor?
Yeah,
No.
I don't remember him being funny before.
No, I think the show decided to make a little change here.
No, he's just been deduced to being someone we can point and laugh at.
But I think, like, before, because he was kind of a useless character before, I think that now having him here has been a nice way for them to, like, be like, oh, he can be funny on iZombie. Why don't we have him be funny here?
Maybe.
That's what it felt like to me, and I liked it.
I needed to laugh tonight. I'm glad that they threw it in there.
I wish it was in the middle and not at the beginning.
It was interesting, though, that they were so convinced that Emma was going to come for the baby's tears, or for the baby's cries. So they were like...
That's just such a weird thing for her to come for.
They were like, oh, now for the spell, she needs this. And she came and she was like, if that's what I wanted, I would have gotten it. P.S. I'm going to take Zelina now.
I'm going to take Zelina instead.
And, okay, sorry. I'm really excited to talk about her plan with Zelina.
Yes. Let's just get into it. So she wants to take Zelina, accelerate her baby, just to get it out of her, just so Emma doesn't kill the baby, because she doesn't want any other innocent lives affected.
Which, by the way, is what good people do. And I'm sorry, Zelina's the worst ever, so I'm totally down with this plan. I think Emma's a brilliant genius.
Yes.
I don't understand how Regina, all people, we were like, that's who would be on board. She's like, nobody hurts my sister but me. What? Are you guys kidding me? Why is everybody upset with this? Emma's brilliant.
It's actually the most genius plan this show has ever had.
It is.
Right? It's the
I'm
one
so
awful
for
person.
This plan.
Yeah.
She's truly horrible. There's not one bit of good in her, and now she's not pregnant. So kill her. Kill her and kill all of dark magic.
I actually was thinking it would be much more interesting if they did this and then it didn't kill her and she was even more evil. That would have been such a fascinating twist.
Once. Are you listening?
No.
Are you hearing Yael right now?
No, they're not.
I get it. This is a brilliant plan, but also it's really, really super dark. And we don't want Emma to use dark magic. We want for her to just give up the dark magic. Granted, it would end in a cold-blooded murder, and
not necessarily.
No matter if she doesn't have her magic or whatnot, that still makes Emma a dark person. I wouldn't like that.
Here's what surprises me: we then get a reveal that Killian is another dark one, and he didn't want to hurt Zelina.
he wants to now work with Zelina, and now all of a sudden that he knows he's dark, he's pissed at Emma. A minute ago, he's like, baby, there's nothing you could do that would hurt me.
Yeah, anything you say, I'll accept.
And what she did was save his life, and now he's mad and wants to work with Zelina. What is happening here? Like, can somebody? I don't. This isn't like a rhetorical question. I really mean this. What are they doing? What is the game plan here? I'm baffled.
I was just so excited about this idea of putting all dark magic into one person because I feel like,
and then just outing them.
I don't think it would kill her. I think it would make her so much more interesting.
No, they would do it, and then she stabs her. That was what it was. It wasn't that the dark magic.
She was
gonna
put the dark magic into Zelina, and then actually just strike her down with the Excalibur.
I actually think she said.
I see.
I actually think she said she would cut her into pieces, which is a little aggressive.
I think that's your dark mind working there.
She could have not said that, and I could have just heard that. That's true.
I think she just said strike her down with the Excalibur.
Yeah, but imagine putting all the dark into Zelina. Let's say she doesn't get, she wants to kill her. Zelina would get away. I'm just saying. Yes. I really wish they would have gone through this plan, so it would have been so much more interesting.
The plan, I agree with you that could have been the plan, and then she gets away, and then that's fascinating. But I don't understand why everybody's mad at this plan. Rebecca Cook in the chat says it perfectly. Don't get the hook 0 to 60 thing. Me neither.
Yeah. I mean, I understand Hook would be disappointed that Emma lied to him straight up and be like, he had no say in the matter. And the fact that she did this without his knowledge.
And she made him a dark one.
I get he's mad, especially again, we've seen him out of all these episodes, him trying to be good. Ooh, Roxy, your face.
Well, Marissa, you're going to freak out.
Oh my gosh.
Steven says, both dark ones killing each other for true love causes the darkness to leave, but their souls end up in the underworld.
Oh, so good.
Oh, my, what?
I really like that.
Yeah. Marissa's been trying to get us there.
Oh, we're going there. But then we would need other people to go save them.
Like Mary Margaret.
Maybe that'll be in predictions. Okay. I love that. Who was that again?
Steven. What was his last name? I'll give him a shout out.
Thank you, Steven. You're amazing. Okay.
They're typing so ferociously right now, I can't even find them. I love this chat.
My mind is racing
Steven
right now. I can't even think.
I really like that idea. That's so great.
Interesting.
Boo69B says they want to rip our hearts out by making Hook bad again. We have been down this road. We have gone back from here. Hook is so great. Come on, team.
But Hook doesn't have a heart right now. Do you think it would affect him?
Do I think what would affect him?
Is that why he hasn't noticed that he's the dark one?
No, because he's still like making out with Emma and sticking up for her and saying he loves her. I mean, I guess that theoretically could be why on the boat. This is what I think they're going to do. Remember on the boat, and she's like, do you love me? And he's like, I don't love you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because he's the dark one. But I just have felt the love. I felt like he was lying. I don't want him to be the second dark one.
He said that he was lying. He said that he loved her.
And wouldn't you, if you were a second dark one, be so obsessed with the other dark one? You would think Hook right now would be like, this is awesome. Like, let's be together and dark and sexy. And
I think that just goes to show how much Hook has come along, that even the thought that him being dark again, like, disgusts him, physically disgusts and irritates him. Maybe. I understand he's disappointed. I don't get why he would immediately turn on Emma, though.
Raw Flores says, if he was also a dark one, they've said magic comes from emotions. Wouldn't Killian's desperation to help Emma sparked magic within him to reveal he had magic? Exactly how I feel. If he had magic, or if he was a dark one, with all of the things he's been going through, we'd know. He'd know.
Everyone's in the chat saying that he does have a heart. So maybe we're wrong that his heart was removed.
It's not, again, I didn't think that his heart was removed. I think that he's the dark one, so when he got stabbed, it didn't hurt.
No, I know that, but I think he also, I thought he didn't have a heart, but I could be wrong. I'm sorry.
It's hard to tell because they didn't physically show us.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just fall for it. But
I'm just surprised that we can have two dark ones.
No, you know what? I can believe this because if Mary Margaret and David can share one heart, then Emma and Hook can share being the dark one.
Oh, yeah. Good call.
So, again, technicality. This is like, this is how the writers figure everything out.
Question. If they had not put Excalibur and the Dark One blade together, could there be two dark ones? Because there's not enough room on the blade?
You know what? There's enough room to put a third person on there.
I did notice that. I totally noticed that. I was like, oh my God, they should totally put Zelina on there too.
Oh my God, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
Aaron wants to know, do you think Merlin is in Hook's head like Rumpel was in Emma's?
Ooh.
That's how we could keep Merlin going.
Okay.
I feel like Merlin would be good, though.
That's how it's keeping Hook from being bad.
But then Hook would have noticed that.
Yeah, and I think if there were voices, the audience wouldn't just be seeing Emma's voices in her heads. We would also be seeing Hook's voices.
Steph is NYC says they stabbed Hook to show he's immortal. That was the whole point of that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah,
for those
fair
who
enough. We knew
listen on iTunes, I threw my hands up in a exhausted sort of way.
I get it.
I had a question, but I literally just lost it.
Are we heading to Moulin Rouge yet?
You know what? Okay, so at the end of that, because they had the whole somewhat of a showdown. We learned there's 2 dark ones. So much for a future swan. And then what else happened?
She did the thing with the sword and the people and the lights, and we didn't know what that was.
And this is when I thought she maybe restored people's memories, because it looked like fairly good magic. That was a white kind of whoosh.
Yeah, it was like a golden light.
Yeah.
So,
but we didn't get that answer.
Well, we didn't get the answer of what that does. I thought that it froze people. You thought that the memories came back. But
we only went into the house with Zelina, Hook, and
Emma.
Emma.
Then the only reason he got memory was because of the dream catcher.
The dream catcher, yes.
So maybe she gave memories back to Regina.
Everyone outside.
Yeah. Just the people who are right there.
Yeah.
Catherine Kane has a really good question that it brings up a point. So was Emma controlling him with the sword all of this time? Like, if Emma had the sword, why wouldn't she have just controlled Hook?
I mean, what did she need to control him for?
He was trying to shut her down this whole time. Like, stand down.
But the thing is, the thing is, Emma's name is on the dagger. Killian's name is on the Excalibur. Emma's always had Excalibur stuck in the rock until Rumpel pulled it out. I think at this point, now Emma actually has full control over
Hook.
Okay. Because that's now out of the stone.
Right.
Or whoever has that has control.
Yeah. But at this point, maybe that's the reason why all this was revealed. With Hook didn't know that he was a Dark One, because his part of the sword was in the stone. That's my only.
They also brought up another duel that we forgot to touch upon, which was Wizard's duel tonight. Merlin versus Emma was fantastic. That it was. We did a little bit, but just like that awesome. One moment, that was cool.
It reminded me, and let me know if this reminded you of Voldemort versus Harry.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
That's all I had.
But we also got to see Merlin reject Arthur's control for a minute, which was really cool, which is another reason why I don't think Merlin's dead, because he's strong enough to reject that control, even for just a moment, which has never happened before, right? Like, we've never seen anyone not do what they're told based on the daggers, right?
Yeah, that we now know that it is possible to resist, at least even for a little bit.
Yeah.
Going back to what you guys said before, Felicia in the chat says, Emma put a protection spell around the house with the Excalibur, but everyone in the house couldn't get out.
Oh. Okay.
So there was a protection spell outside the house.
So she did it so that Zelina and...
But Zelina left.
No, Zelina went outside to, like, the yard area where she found the
But then she went
Dreamcatcher.
back into the house. If the protection spell was on it, she probably couldn't get back into the house.
She claims that she left and then came back, but for all we know...
She was in another room.
Yeah.
I mean, I really believe what confused me the most out of that moment was Zelina and Hook were no longer attached to their shackles, and they walked instead of her, like... Poofing them out.
Yeah.
They walked.
Yeah. No one should have trusted Lena. Fools.
Oh, no, that's dumb.
Okay. Is there anything else about the episode 1 that was mind-blowing and all over the place?
Just that I cannot wait to see how that storyline continues.
Yes.
I was really
let's get
upset.
to that.
We'll get to predictions also.
Right.
But episode 2. The Bear King. What do we think of this episode?
I really liked Brave, so to see a continuation of that family is nice. I like that they keep throwing back to things from the movie, which apparently Roxy has not seen.
Yeah, I've never seen Brave.
What? You being a Disney fan?
I
You
know,
haven't
I'm
seen
a
Brave?
huge Disney fan. I haven't seen it, and when I knew it was coming to the show, I was like, I want to see if I understand this storyline.
Okay.
Which I haven't.
Right.
So I've got to go watch Brave.
Yeah, because the
Roxy,
big fear of the
I love you,
bears.
and you have I don't know how many hours to watch so many television shows, but you can't watch Brave.
I know. I'm gonna do it now because honestly, Yael had to pause a couple of times and be like, "So, here's what's going on here." And I guess that there are people who haven't seen Brave that would. I get it enough, but it's like
the big threat of bears doesn't make any sense if you don't know.
or who those suitors
Those
were.
the three suitor guys from the other clans.
Yeah.
Which I'll say, this show decided, let's
Dingbar
give
is
them
one of
some.
them.
Let's give them some good looks as opposed to what they were drawn in the cartoon.
You know what? And I will say for the one show, they definitely upgraded this character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
My biggest problem with this storyline is that I didn't care enough.
Yeah.
And
Me too.
we spent a full hour on something. Like, if we maybe had been jumping between this and what was going on
Right.
with our people.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, Marissa, all of a sudden we're with a bunch of people that aren't our regulars.
They're not a
Right.
They're
regular
not our
cast.
OGs. I was stoked to see Mulan and love seeing Ruby. Those are two of my favorite all-time characters. But I was like, this is such a weird moment to throw them in.
Yeah.
I want to see them with our team. And like the flashback of Mary Margaret and Ruby, it seems so out of place that I didn't even...
Absolutely.
It's weird.
And that's the whole thing when I'm saying this episode would have been so much more effective had it been placed somewhere else in the season.
Yeah.
Completely misplaced in timing.
Last week.
Right.
This week should have
Even
been.
before this episode,
yeah.
it would have
It
even
wouldn't
built
changed
up
anything.
to what happened.
It didn't change anything. I think they could have moved it anywhere.
It didn't move the needle forward, and it didn't keep us interested for an hour.
The only, and again, jumping ahead, but I think that it's the only relevant part of this episode in the end, is that Merida is out to get Arthur. That is straight up the takeaway from this episode.
Yep.
And I don't really see what else is relevant.
That Moulin Rouge has been created.
That's true. People in the
Yes.
chat were confused by that. So Rouge, Red, Ruby, Moulin Rouge, Mulan.
Yeah.
Plan words. Okay.
Because people think that they might have a crush on each other.
I think, yes.
I
one
mean,
of
look.
the only good things that came out of this episode, we got the band of awesome, strong women back together.
Yes.
So seeing kick butt women is great.
I love it.
Always.
Yeah.
I love it.
I also really like that when Merida was like, I want to train for this war, and her dad was like, I brought you a tutor, and she was like, I don't need a man, and it was Mulan, which is wonderful.
That
And
moment
she
was,
don't need no man.
Yeah, that moment
doesn't.
was
She needs
awesome.
Mulan.
And I loved the whole like
Make a
turning from
man
a
out of
wolf.
you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, and I was like, oh my god, this will make the episode complete if she starts singing I Won't Care What Else Happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that didn't happen. What also was fascinating to me is when I was looking at these three women, they come from different walks of life. They all looked so different. They're all so beautiful, and like I just admired them.
Yeah.
And I was
They're all
like, this is so
gorgeous.
cool to watch them with all their strengths and all their beauty band together. But I didn't care what they were fighting for,
Right.
so it made it difficult. I just was like, oh, okay, well, they're fighting together, and that's nice.
And again, they spent a lot of the episode in flashbacks of just how they came to be in that certain land. And I was like, you just told us 20 minutes of just how they landed there.
Yeah.
We got the whole flashback with Ruby. She felt out of place in Starbuck, and then she had a beam.
Which-
that's convenient.
That was the most, I was laughing so hard. It felt like such a joke that they were like, oh crap, we have to figure this out. Let's just do that.
Let's place it in the exact same scene that
Right.
they're all celebrating baby Neil's
Yeah.
birth. Okay, I was like,
put her
yeah,
in
that
the
makes
corner.
sense
I
because
really
I
like they
guess
put her in the corner. There's no one else looking,
one
not
else
even
there.
extras in the scene with her, as though she was
Just
hidden
cut.
in the background. And they've
look,
reminded us of Tiny and his farm. That's exciting.
I loved how they, even in this particular episode, they're literally catching up everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
this is the X, Y, and Z is happening. That's why I have to leave.
Right, they've
Like,
reminded
oh,
us. They've
yeah, we get it.
reminded us of why Mulan is what made Mulan give up is that the love of her life,
Heartbroken.
Aurora, is having a baby with her husband.
I liked that reminder, but it was so strange to me that they threw in the Ruby thing because it was like, at one point, I really cared why Ruby left because I missed her constantly.
Yeah.
At this point, I've gotten over it. So why did you guys go back to explain to me? It just
You
seemed
know,
like such a weird
this would
thing.
have been a moment where I'd be okay if Ruby said, it's a long story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love when TV uses that
Just,
trick.
there you go. It's like, you could have spent so much other time explaining other more relevant things than
Yeah.
something that we
I would have
didn't
even
care
accepted.
about.
I would have even accepted. I got lonely, so I found a bean and came home.
Right.
Done.
And I got caught under the witch's
Right.
spell. She turned me into a wolf. I
Right.
knew that was Ruby. Okay.
You totally did. I was like, why would it be Ruby? Every time you're like, that's clearly Ruby. And I was like, but why? And then the explanation that we got was the witch kept her in wolf state.
Yep. That
Sure.
was it.
Okay.
That was it. She fell for the witch's spell.
Sure.
And then, long story short,
Mulan
she's
has
turned back.
spidey senses. She's like, you're not a wolf. You need a reminder of who you are.
But also, the reveal at the end when the witch was like, this was all a test. Do you know what that makes me feel like? It makes me feel like you just gave me an hour of nothing.
Exactly. So frustrating. Why spent a whole hour building up a story and an adventure with these three girls? I get it. And we're chasing a wild goose chase for Zelina and Arthur and this magical helmet, the helm, quote unquote. Why spend a whole hour on this when Zelina and Arthur just poofs out? That was nothing.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing just became a test just to test someone's integrity and loyalty of running a kingdom. What?
It's like waking up and it was all a dream. That's what it was like.
No, that was waking up and realizing that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
If I was Merida, I'm sorry, I don't know what this says about me, but I would kill the witch.
Oh yeah, that witch
I'd be like,
deserves.
that is not
She turned her
funny.
mother into a bear. I would have killed her way before.
And I love how Merida was like, oh, okay then, yeah. I am good enough to run this kingdom.
She forgave her because she could waste the ale to talk to her father.
Yes.
In the underworld.
In the underworld. But she wasn't even in the underworld. She was at the
Yeah,
her
she
stone
brought him from the underworld.
from the underworld.
Yeah.
Which I guess it opens up the door to the underworld. We can communicate with spirits. It's leading to a whole nother story that I'm way more interested in.
Yeah.
Me too, but while we're still on this story, has been another correction in the chat, which is interesting because I never thought of it this way. They're saying that Mulan never said who she was in love with, that they left it up to the viewer, that it could have been Aurora or it could have been
Philip. I believe
Which
it was
I thought it was
clarified.
Aurora.
I believe it was clarified previously that it was Aurora.
Because she was more physically upset when she realized Aurora was in love with Philip, not with her. And having a baby.
Sadie Bunny says, if you watch it again, there are hints of Philip and Mulan and Aurora. So people in the chat are saying that they had different things for both.
I mean, I assume that it was never explicitly said because it's ABC is Disney, and I believe that was the choice that they made, but I'm pretty sure that it was very highly inferred.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with you. I never even thought that it could have been Philip, but interesting.
I think it was implied it was Aurora.
Very
but they didn't
much
want to
so.
go there. They
didn't
left
want to
it
just
up
say
to
it
the
out loud.
audience.
Yeah,
Got
but
it.
I think it's pretty clear.
And I mean, I guess another character we saw was Eleanor, was Merida's mother.
Right. Who
So,
took
who
me a
did
second
nothing.
to remember that it was her.
Why? Why did we see her? Why did we meet her?
In the Brave movie, Eleanor was a very big part of the story.
But yeah,
the whole mission was to turn her mother, who was turned into a bear, to turn back into a human.
Yeah.
That's the whole crux of the whole Brave movie.
That's the plot.
That's the plot.
Before her
Okay.
father
That's
kills her.
literally Brave. There, I saved you 2 hours of Pixar.
No, you gotta watch it.
Yeah, no, you do have
I
to watch
will,
it.
but man, I don't want to.
I mean,
Well, I'll teach you the drinking game. It'll be great.
Okay, good. I'm in now.
Yeah.
okay, but Meredith, I guess, had a very insincere, very endearing talk with her father.
Sure.
Spirit, done.
Okay.
Move on.
Yep.
Underworld. Ha ha.
Is this news and gossip?
Anything else about first or second episode that we may have missed?
Just, I'm
Arthur?
happy to argue with people about the Aurora thing on Twitter. Very happy.
Everybody's agreeing with you. Arthur, you don't even know what's coming for you.
One of Regina's best lines. I'll protect the baby. What happens to you? Well,
Yeah.
amazing. Oh, so great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to news and gossip then.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
My favorite thing, as we all know, where everyone's speculating Underworld and Hades, and we do know Distinguished Gentleman has been officially casted, and it is the actor Greg German, who, as everyone's speculating, including myself, is Hades. I think he's Hades. I believe we have a picture if you're watching and listening. I can totally see it. I can see Greg German be Hades. Distinguished Gentleman.
That said, Hades was voiced by James Wood. Mm-hmm. I would love
so
to
much
see
older, though.
James. Yeah, but he's Hades. I would love to see James Wood as Hades.
He'd be awesome. I just
I would
wonder.
love to see Sue Egan back as Meg.
I just
Let's
wonder
get everybody.
how they would do this. Like, are they gonna dye his hair? Are they gonna light him on fire? Like,
what they
what's
could
the
do?
look gonna be?
Have you ever seen Santa Claus 3? With Jack.
Yes.
They could do
With Jack
something
Frost?
extreme with the blue and white hair that they did in Jack
It
Frost.
looked like
Definitely go watch.
plastic.
That's also a Disney movie. Go check that out.
I'm really embarrassed that I've seen that.
But no, that's amazing hair though.
Yeah.
As interesting as a movie that was, that's amazing hair. There is a reason why I brought that up. I think they could do that if they're or distinguished gentlemen, just slick the hair back. That's distinguished.
I feel like it's gonna be more like a wig, like of the 3 suitors from Brave. There's the one with the white hair that poofs up. I feel like if you just take that and dye the tips blue, you're good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I can see it. I've actually seen Greg German on the red carpet, and yeah, I could totally see it.
I like that you keep calling him a distinguished gentleman.
Because he's in his IMDb, it also states distinguished gentleman.
No, I know,
That's
but
it.
I like that you keep referring to that.
Because he is. Yeah. Okay, and then we also know Meg and Hercules are actually confirmed for episodes 100 and 101
Ah.
When is that?
in March.
That's
It's slated for
episode
March 8th.
12-ish?
Is the it's the second week of March for the 100th episode. March of 2016. I'm putting a timestamp on this.
The only reason I know is because it coincides with the Grimm 100th episode, because Grimm and Once Upon a Time started
at the same
season.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so far. I needed a little sooner. We have to get out of this brave land.
And we have to go to Underworld.
I think if we look at the timeline, that's going to be second half of the season, which is its own storyline. Usually, right?
would
They've been
love it.
splitting the seasons. So.
Yeah, and well, every time, they have part A and part B of a season, and part B is definitely, and even Adam and Eddie themselves, that they said that there are the next 2 episodes that we will see after the ones that just aired tonight.
Yeah.
The next 2 reveals all the information that we'll need for part 2 of this season, and they also said that the audience, there's enough clues for us to put 2 and 2 together that we're going to Underworld. We've already done it.
Us not having an episode next week is going to be the hardest thing that ever happened.
I know.
So all I'm holding on to are these clues, Marissa.
And again, you know what? That's why I also say I'm as interesting as the second episode was tonight. I'm glad that they actually aired it tonight, because granted, we'd have to wait 2 weeks and then have to go through the second episode and then have 3 weeks of wait to get an actual answer from what we just learned tonight.
Which is why I said this Brave episode should have been last week.
Yeah.
Also, so I could be here for 2 amazing episodes, not 2 great and an episode.
Can we get into some predictions? Because I'm
Yes.
finding some good ones in the chat.
Let's predict.
And now,
You guys
your
aren't excited by the
AfterBuzz
noise?
TV
Oh, yeah, we do.
predictions.
This is what I
Roxy.
like to do. I like to steal what the smart people, all the people in the chat are smart, but some of the smartest things they say in the chat and make it sound like my own.
Go for it.
But instead, I'll give a little credit where credit is due. Arsenal Strike says, I bet that when they go to the underworld, they're going to face the people that they regret killing. So Emma, Cruella, Snow, Cora, etc., which could be a really cool way to bring people back. I would love that. So that's a
Yeah.
long-term prediction.
Then Rumple his father. Pan, because you're also getting Rumple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That would be interesting. They face the people that they killed.
That's a really great prediction.
Thanks, I'm so smart.
Arsenal, good one.
Arsenal, you're amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
what you got?
Oh, man. I predict that Emma being the dark one is resolved by, like, part 2 begins with her no longer being the dark one. However, it's resolved.
Okay. So we're not there for that much longer. Like, she's going to dye her hair pretty soon.
That said, it might be that she's resolved as the dark one, but Hook isn't. That's my prediction. Ooh, big one. That said, long-term prediction, guys. Hook and Emma are OTP, so, like, it's fine. They're gonna be back together. I just don't want any of the hookers to hate me. Like, don't worry, guys. They're OTP. I got this.
I don't know. I am not trendy enough. What's OTP?
One true pairing.
Oh, no.
Their end game.
What,
They are endgame.
Do you not know
So is
shipper
Outlaw
terminology?
I found out what ship means. I know how to ship things. I ship
You're
things.
a hooker, yeah.
Yeah. OTP.
You are a hooker for
One
life.
true pairing. I
They're,
love
yeah,
it.
they're OTP.
And I
Their
am
end
Outlaw
game.
Queen. I think someone has to die in order for them to go to Underworld. So whether it be Zelina,
They wouldn't go into Underworld for her.
No. I'm saying her spirit. Someone has to die for them to go to Underworld.
It seems like Regina would go to Underworld for her sister. Baffling.
It's confusing.
Yeah, I think Regina would go to Underworld just to make sure Zelina is actually officially dead.
I like that. That's a nice story.
I like that too. All right. Other than the fact that I'm excited for Underworld. I mean, it'd be a shame if I'm saying all these episodes were going to Underworld and actually didn't be, and then like I'm completely eating crow.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not know or think about that. I didn't pick up on any of those clues until tonight when you guys kept shouting Underworld. I'm excited. I really like that idea.
What? Okay, I've been wanting Underworld and Hades and Hercules and Pain and Panic and Meg since March.
Yeah.
Another really cool prediction in the chat. Felicia says, I think Hook will go after Henry to get back at Emma, and that will bring Emma back to the light. So that could be interesting.
I think that's a clear sign that we're
out of time.
Done. All right. Where can everyone keep following you?
You guys can follow me online at Yael TV. That's YAEL.TV. Also, you love magic, so be sure to check out The Librarians, including The Librarians After Show, Mondays at 10 p.m. here on AfterBuzz. I'm also on Twitter. Come and argue with me about Aurora and Mulan at Yael Tygiel, YAELTYGIEL.
I have a problem remembering his name too. Why can't I think what?
Philip?
I can never get it.
No, I want to talk about Aurora and Mulan.
Got it. I'm at Roxy Stryer. You can find me at Roxy Stryer. You can also find me hosting TV fights starting this Tuesday at 4 p.m. over on Screen Junkies. Really excited for the first show. And I know you guys are big TV fans, so make sure you watch that.
There you go. And you can follow me on Twitter at Serafini TV. Tell me all your thoughts and predictions, and we love talking to you guys every single week. You are all brilliant. You have theories and predictions we never would have thought of.
Yeah.
Keep rating and keep commenting and subscribing on YouTube, iTunes, where all AfterBuzz is available. We love the show. And follow all of us at AfterBuzz TV. We will see you next time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.